The number one thing people ask me for on the lesson tee is they say, Ryan, I want to make better contact when I'm hitting my irons, when I'm hitting my wedges, when I'm hitting clubs off the ground. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Let's get you making better contact. So to start, there's a couple ways that we can go, but I think the thing I want to talk about is maybe a couple of pitfalls that I see commonly from players. And then also what I'm going to add in is some things that we can look at and pay attention to with a couple of golf tees. And I'm also going to give you my warm-up that I do when I get to the drive range to help, I guess, initiate good contact for me. So I hope that we all know this, but when we see really good players hit good golf shots, what we see is we see them hit the golf ball first and then they hit the ground. The divot is always in front of the golf ball. If the divot's behind the golf ball, we've chunked it. Our club's hitting the turf first, we're not making very good contact. So that's something that we want to change. Now, there's a couple different ways that we can think about making good contact. Let's remember that we want the club to hit the golf ball before it hits the turf. So there's two ways that we can do that, or there's two main ways we can do that, but both of them involve, usually we've got to have that handle or that grip ahead of the golf ball. Right? Very rarely, if the handle's back here, it's unlikely that we're going to make contact where we're going to make good contact hitting the ball and then the turf. So normally a good impact position will have a handle that's ahead of the golf ball. So grip is ahead, so I can come and I can hit down on this golf shot. Another thing that we need to have is we need to have our body in front of the golf ball. And what I mean by that, right now I have it set up, and if you were to look, my nose, my head, my chest, my hips, right now the middle of them is all behind the golf ball. When we look at players that make good contact, we start to see all of that move in front of the golf ball, and that can help us hit down on it. So, a pitfall I see with a lot of players is they think, okay, I've just got to have forward shaft lean. So what they'll do is they'll come up and they'll set up and they'll preset a bunch of forward shaft lean thinking that that's just going to return it to the golf ball. More important than getting this in front of the golf ball, the way our body moves has a lot more to do with how that club reacts. Hey, thanks for watching this video. I just have a quick favor to ask. You make sure that you subscribe to this channel. Always like my videos, and make sure you hit that little bell to make sure that you get notifications when I drop more videos just like this. And as always, if you ever have any questions, please post them in the comments down below. I respond to every comment. Now back to your video. Because if I make a backswing and if I hang back, I can try whatever I want. I'm never going to get to that golf ball in time, and that's when we see players that have to flip it. If we see players that make a backswing and they start to lean forward, same thing in the backswing or in the downswing, now they're going to start to hang back and they're going to start to flip at it. The biggest thing I need you to think about is in the downswing, our lead side has to move towards the target, and then we rotate our body down to impact. Now sequentially that might change a little bit from person to person, but I'm just laying a little bit of a foundation here. We make a backswing, we have to move laterally towards the target some amount, and then we have to rotate down. That's what can get our hands in front of the golf ball. That's what can get the club or the grip in front of the golf ball. I can set up with no forward shaft lean here, and if I make my backswing where I start my downswing by moving towards the target a little bit and then rotating, that's how I can get that handle in front of the golf ball. So another thing for a lot of people is them understanding, well, where am I actually making contact right now? And a very easy drill, and what I'll do it once and then I'll cut in some video after. I have a golf ball and I have a tee. And all what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this tee at the very back of the golf ball. So it's directly in line with the back of the golf ball. And now what I'll be able to do is I'll be able to come up and I'll be able to hit a golf shot. And I'll be able to see, right now that tee is here. My divot is in front of the ball. I came down, I hit the golf ball first, and then I hit a divot. This is a fantastic drill for so many players. All you need to do is you set up your golf ball, you put your tee behind, and then you hit a shot. But let's say you're a player that you know that you struggle with contact. I think one thing that we can do is let's take the golf ball away, and let's just get set up to this tee. Let's take a normal stance, and let's make rehearsal swings to see, even without a golf ball, where do I hit the turf? Right now, I didn't make a divot, but I disturbed some grass in front of the golf ball or in front of my tee where the golf ball would have been. That was a good rehearsal swing. If you put something simple like a tee on the ground, it gives you somewhere for your eyes to focus. When I see players on the golf course and they just kind of are making haphazard rehearsal swings, they're not touching the ground, different things like that, I really think that that's breeding poor contact. As opposed to, let's say, we get set up and we have a conscious idea right now. I'm going to set up this club right in line with this tee, and now I'm looking in front of my tee. That's where I want to hit the turf with this rehearsal. And that's what I did on that swing. People will say, well, Ryan, I'm not going to set up a tee every single time I'm on the golf course. I don't expect you to do that. But what we can do, let's say right now, is I've got this little piece of grass that's sticking up, right? It's a little fluff of grass. I can go ahead and I can set up to that and make my rehearsal swing. And now I know, because I have the feedback, that it was in the right spot. Hey, here's a little secret. Every week I send an email on Thursday mornings that gives you 3 things. It gives you 1 golf tip, it gives you 1 quote or stat, and gives you 1 little extra to help you play better golf and practice more effectively. To sign up, there's a link in my description. Make sure you get signed up, because on Thursday morning, the next one's coming. For a lot of players, we have to start somewhere. I need you to know where you're touching the ground right now, and something simple in your rehearsal swings, whether it be a tee or a piece of grass on the ground or a leaf or a broken chunk of tee, is something fantastic for you to set up to be able to start to get that feedback. So we've talked about some of the ways that our body can move in the golf swing, and that's a very complex subject, which is why I just kind of left it as, let's make sure we understand that we have to move a little bit towards the target and we have to have some rotation to make good contact. The focus on this video is making sure that I'm giving you the tool to check where's your contact actually at currently. Okay? So what I want to do now, and I'm going to take the alignment rod away here, is I'm actually going to walk you through a drill that I go through myself a lot when I warm up. When I get to the golf course, I go through my warm up, and the first thing that I want to do is I want to know what good contact feels like. I really want to feel that compressing the golf ball, making solid contact. I don't like to make great big swings at the start, not making that good of contact. So a drill that I use, or part of my warm-up, is I will come up and I just want to hit punch out. Like, I just want to hit these low punch shots. And what I will do, and what I'll encourage you to do, when I think of a punch out, I think of a swing where I'm really trying to keep the ball low. I'm trying to make what I'll call a low swing. It's not a great big swing. It's maybe more of a hip high to hip high swing. But that's the length of my swing to start to make good contact. And all what I'm going to tell myself is, based on the 2 tips I gave you at the start, my first swings when I get to the driving range, I want to make sure that my downswing, I feel like I'm moving towards a target and rotating. Those are 2 great keys for making good contact. So I'll get to the range, and I'm being perfectly honest right now. Usually my first couple of shots will look something like this at the start of a range session. Just a little shot like that. I know I came down, I hit golf ball first. That might have been a little bit steeper than I wanted, but that accomplished my goal. And I'll go through, I'll do the same thing again. I have maybe a little bit of a narrow stance. I'm not making a very long swing, and all what I'm feeling is the downswing. I'm shifting and I'm moving some pressure left towards the target and then rotating. So a punch out, shifting left and rotating. That was a better one there. And I know I'm making good contact. I can feel it in the club. I can feel when I hit the golf ball, I'm seeing that divot in front. But I will always start a range session going through and hitting some of these little shots here. That was another really good one there. And then if I'm struggling with contact on that particular day, or if I haven't been happy with the way that I've been hitting it on the golf course, I will come up, I will set up a tee. I will set my club up to that tee and I'll make a rehearsal swing. And I'll make sure that my divot, one that I'm hitting the ground and it's on the right side of, or on the correct side of the tee. And now that I have that focus point, now I'll come in and I'll set up to hit this golf shot, and now I want to execute the exact same thing. Okay, good strike there. Now I'm able to look back and get the feedback that I need. So, everyone says that they want to make good contact. I hope a couple things you take away from today is that we can make good contact. There's a couple things we have to do. You have to know where you're hitting the ground, and we can use feedback like this tee drill. We can use a little piece of grass, we can use a leaf, we can use a broken tee. Whether you're on the tee box, in the fairway, I think rehearsal swings with that visual feedback of where you're hitting the ground is extremely important. And then also understanding that whatever you try to do setup-wise or preset-wise isn't going to have as much effect on, or instead of making sure once we make our backswing, we have to shift some pressure towards the target and we have to have some rotation to get those hands in a position where we can hit the golf ball first and then have a divot in front. And then lastly, I gave you my little trick that I do when I go to the driving range. I will always warm up hitting those little punch shots where I'm just making these little swings, really trying to feel for me my two keys, which is make sure that I'm shifting to my left side and rotating. And that smaller swing, I think, really increases my chances of making really good contact from my very first swings of the day, which I think can really set the tone to have a good practice session. I want to thank you for watching as always. Please make sure you subscribe and like this video. Make sure you click that little bell so when I drop more videos like this, you're the first to know. And always remember, if you post in the comments, I respond to all of my comments. I hope this helps you make a little bit better contact and hit better golf shots, and we'll see you next time.